changed my whole way of being because uh, she gave us a prompt every month of just what you want to be when you grow up, where were you born, just different kinds of questions. And for the first time, I had a teacher that cared about what I was interested in and who I was. And I vowed that when I got older, I would become a teacher of that ilk. And so as I continued along with my education, I eventually did get a teaching job in California in Rona Park. And we were two teachers next door to each other. We opened up our door and we had 63rd and fourth graders with very diverse thinking styles amongst them. We were a gifted and talented school that began at fourth grade, but at third grade, we were everyone else. So we had every type of learning style. And at a certain point, we went to a conference in Oakland and we discovered that, in fact, uh, there were different kinds of programs that could entertain all those different ways of thinking. And one of them was called Invent America. And Invent America was the forerunner of the invention programs that came into being today. And so we took that back to our third and fourth graders, all 60 of them. And what we discovered is one, there was very little curriculum, so we wrote curriculum. And two, we asked students to identify a problem in their own lives or their family or the community and invent a solution. And we put together a process that we wanted them to really go through in order to come up with their invention. And so what we learned is that every student, whether they are second language learners, whether they are um, having different ways of learning, whether they are gifted and talented, every student could identify a problem in either their own lives or their family or the community. And then we taught them the process of how do you go about inventing a solution to a problem once you identify it. And we had students who were thoroughly engaged in that process and spent much of a year inventing a solution. And we had to do all sorts of work with that. We had to determine whether the problem they were identifying was doable ultimately, not because it was good or bad, but because it might have been too big for the period of time that we were talking about. So we talked about what's a problem that is solvable and how do you go about solving it. And so ultimately, we had 60 students at the end of the process have inventions. And we held a convention and we invited the rest of the schools in our district to come and meet the new inventors. And they were uh, very excited about it. So a number of other classes started doing it. And then pretty soon other districts started in joining us as well. And we started training people in it. So fast forward a long time, I became an administrator. I was a principal at 5 different schools. I presently am in Santa Cruz, California. And then I, lo and behold, gave out my curriculum to a lot of people and trained a lot of teachers along the way. And I retired. And that lasted about 3 weeks. And after retiring, I was asked to be an interim superintendent at a small school in Northern California, Central California, actually. And the teacher there was wanting to learn project-based education, much as I did when I was young. And so I said, how about if I do an invention program with your students? And so began the California Invention Convention. There was and then I realized that I didn't have curriculum. I had given it out to all these people along the way, and I didn't have my curriculum anymore. So I called Ohio, and Ohio was doing this at that point, and this was in 2015. Ohio had been doing it for, I believe, 25 years, and they sold me some curriculum. And recommended that I call a fellow in Connecticut because Connecticut was doing it as a state for, at that point, 32 years. And the person who I spoke with, Danny Briere, said, are you in California? I said, yes. He said, would you do California? Because I'm starting a National Invention Convention program. And I said, I'll do California. And so began the California Invention Convention, with its first group of students being 4 students that went to the National Invention Convention that was held at the United States Patent and Trademark Office in Alexandria, Virginia in 2016. And that was the first group, along with probably another 8 or so states that participated at that point. Tennessee was one, and Idaho, and I think New Jersey actually did start right about then, and then uh, New York was involved. We had a lot of diverse areas of the country, and we held our first National Invention Convention. My students from California, 3 of them, had either snow or they had surfing inventions, which turned out to be very viable inventions. They could probably sell them, but in Washington, D.C., in Alexandria, Virginia, the judges were not very familiar with surfing. We didn't take any prizes, but it was a really valuable experience for us because we saw what was really involved with doing inventions and taking it to the next levels and supporting our students to be able to start thinking in the way of invention. So I put together a really brief little slideshow, which I'll share with you. And let's see. And let's put it in slideshow mode. Continue to share the PowerPoint. Yes, continue. And let's see. Hopefully it works. I have to say that last night we downloaded everything I've ever had on a computer to my laptop and put a new version of Zoom in. And I'm hoping all of that comes together at this moment. So let's see. So who are we? California Invention Convention. Wait, we have yet to uncover if the sound is connected to it, but hopefully it is. The California Invention Convention inspires K-12 students to become problem solvers, innovators by guiding them through the full invention process, identifying real-world problems, designing solutions, building prototypes, and competing at regional and state events. So that is pretty much what we hope to really accomplish. And okay, here is our real test. I'm just going to put on a quick little video that was from a couple of years ago, but is still appropriate. Sarah, you can hear this?
Started. Are we ready? The future is right here, right now at the Henry Ford. And just like these lights shining in my face, it's incredibly bright.
I absolutely love inventing. I learned so much during this whole process that it's like invaluable for the rest of my life. It's been a lot of work getting here. And something I've learned is that I'm capable of more than I think I'm capable of.
See in your kids what they can be, what you see, they will become.
So the Henry Ford is all about ideas and innovations that change the world. And when the students come here with their inventions and display their inventions on the floor of the museum next to some of the greatest innovations in the world, that's inspiration in action.
I've been involved in Invention Convention since I was in about 8th grade. Anushka's just started it this year. I kind of recruited her.
We have never done anything like this before, so it's very new for us. And so far, it's been very fun.
So if one student goes, we're all going. So there's like 29 of us here from Lake Elsinore, California. It's an experience for them. For myself, I feel like a little person in a big person's body.
The atmosphere here was amazing. I could increase my exposure to almost everything. Like this year, I talked to the USPTO, the patent office. I had an opportunity to talk to RTX. when you have a set of tools in a moment of chaos or messiness, it can help you along that non-linear path.
I heard Shark Tank was going to be here and it was a big opportunity. We have been the last couple days conducting an open casting call. It's incredible what the Henry Ford and Invention Convention has inspired.
And also talking to the variety of different people here. There are so many inventors from all across America. And it was just wonderful meeting them and talking to them and learning about their problems and how they solve theirs.
Seeing the way they ask questions of each other, almost like water cooler talk, but they're talking as inventors, and it was just really inspiring to see.
A lot of diabetics struggle with having to prick their finger every day. So we invented the GlycoCharge, which is basically a non-invasive glucose monitor.
We live in a really rural area, so we invented a respiratory monitor that utilizes conductive fabric to remotely transmit respiratory patterns to a healthcare professional in real time.
They get to make choices. They're empowered. They have agency, and that brings a motivation that you can't fake.
I built the curly girly helmet. Every time I try on a helmet, it never fits my hair, and that's why I want to make it.
I am so impressed with the inventors' empathy that they're able to identify problems in their communities and in their lives, and they feel empowered enough through the program to begin making change.
Just by being here at this ceremony, you've already achieved something to be celebrated. So let's clap it up. I'm going to be asking you to do this a lot today.
In a way, it felt like we were all working together for the same thing. In the end, it's kind of just like different inventors trying to invent something cool for the world. And I mean, I guess mine was cool.
This award goes to Recycle Sharp. The Licensing Potential Award, the Curly Girly Helmet Patent Application Award. Glyco Sharp.
Yeah, it felt incredible. Like from the moment our names were called up to the stage, we realized that this could actually help millions and millions of people around the world.
You get to see kids building confidence, feeling pride, and being passionate about something.
For my students to have their innovation in the Henry Ford Museum is amazing. And it lets them know that they have purpose, even as a third grader or fourth grader. We all have purpose, not just adults.
I think the process of it is really interesting in ways that you could go to other places.
This is just the beginning for these young inventors. They can go on to help to lead the world.
You're going to make this world a better place. You don't have to wait to be an adult to do that because you're doing it today.
Okay. Oh, there we go. So this is a quote that it came about through Richard Riley, who was the former Secretary of Education. In 1993, he began as Secretary of Education. And his quote to me from 1993 holds such truth for today as well and for the future. We're currently preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technologies that haven't yet been invented in order to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet. And if that doesn't state it right there in that one quote, that is why this is such a powerful tool for us to move into the future. Uh-oh. Let's see. So what is it? We are giving students a process for after they've identified a problem and they are beginning to think about how can they solve it and how can they invent a tool that would be a solution for it. This is what the process is. It's transdisciplinary. It involves STEM, STEAM, which is what we're talking about today, but it's everything. It can be a problem in the arts, in the humanities, in robotics, in coding, in after-school careers and tech education, in maker spaces, in entrepreneurship, in anything that you are looking at. It's possible to find a problem that is existing and to make it better by coming up with a solution to that problem. And so we've worked on this for a long time. We want students to find the problem and be able to really talk about their problem so that they think it's perhaps for themselves that they are the okay. Hi, Rashna. Welcome. And so uh, we want them to define the problem, find out, is it really just the problem for them, or is it a problem that exists for others as well? And at first they're convinced, oh, I'm the only one who has this problem. But when they start researching it, they discover, as those two young kids said, that it will be a problem with a solution that can help millions of people in the world. And that really is the crux of this. We often have kids who are defining problems for whom they think are themselves or their neighbor or their cousin or their mother or their father. And in the end, it is involving a lot more people. We want them to research it in such a way that they are looking at whether it exists already. And if it does, we want them to make sure they do not think of themselves as having failed. We want them to look at, is there some way that they can make it better? Can they improve upon what already exists out there? I've had so many students who have found their original idea on Amazon or at Walmart. And then they start thinking, well, maybe I can improve upon it. And they do. And they end up with a secondary patent for that same idea with a different twist to it. So we want them to be able to do that and then create, ideate. We want them to come up with several different possibilities and ultimately to take one of them because they've run it by a few different people who might have the problem, or just to get some feedback from people. And we want them to take that one idea that they ultimately come down to and start thinking of it in terms of, can they build a prototype? Can they build something that doesn't necessarily have to work, but can demonstrate how their solution can be put into place? And so we want them to come up with that prototype and then present that to a number of people, perhaps users, perhaps it's again, might be a medical solution. We have so many students who think in terms of medical solutions. And then we want them to be able to take the solution and recreate it in a better way from the feedback that they're getting. So we want them to build it and then rebuild it and test it and then do that process over and over, design it, build it, test it, get more feedback, continue with that until finally they come up with one final prototype that they choose to work on. And for all of this, again, it doesn't have to be a working invention, but students have to be able to explain how it would work if it did. So that's the basic process of it. In all of this, they are gaining amazing communication skills. We have worked with students who couldn't say more than a few words to us at the start, and by the end have become experts in understanding what their problem was and how they have managed to create a solution for it, and to tell that to judges who might be very bright individuals but have no idea about the area that that student is involved in, and that student teaches them how to really continue and do the best job they possibly can. So that's the process. I was explaining what my background is, and one of the reasons I got involved with this was because of, and let's see if I can do this and it'll work. Da, 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 yeah. Ah, was because of a fellow named George Land. And George Land in the 1960s was trying to discover whether creativity is something you're born with or whether it's nurtured as you are developing. And he did many tests, he did many experiments, he did brain scans, he did lots of stuff. and came up eventually with a set of questions to find out if at what point would a young person be considered a creative genius. He was hired by NASA in the 1980s, I believe, or 90s actually, to find out who their most creative scientists were, who could work on some of their more difficult problems that they had. And he gave them that same test and was successful at doing that, and realized that the questions he was giving were questions that a young child, a 5-year-old, could answer, and that he could do that same kind of study with them. Who are your most creative? What are they about? Uh, and so he got together with the Department of Interior, and together they came up with an initial 10,000 students who were of kindergarten age and gave them the test. And he asked at the end, what percentage do you believe were creative geniuses? And so, just out of curiosity, if you're able, because it looks like everyone's on mute still, um, what percentage do you think a kindergarten come out testing as creative geniuses? So just in the chat, let's see if you could just throw it in the chat for a moment. And uh, what percentage do you think are creative geniuses at kindergarten? And if I'm not going to get any responses there, I'll tell you. It is, oh, 1%. Okay. Oh, we have the full gambit. So, okay. So at kindergarten, he discovered that 98% test out as creative geniuses. So then he was curious. Well, if 98% test out at age 5 as creative geniuses, what percentage at age 10? So they tried to do a longitudinal study for as many of those students as they could keep track of, and gave the same students that test again at age 10. So now, what percentage do you think were creative geniuses at age 10? So stick it in the chat again, and Sarah, do your work. Okay, we're getting a range again. Well, it turns out that, okay, 5 years later, the amount up, and here we go, was 30%. 30% scored as creative geniuses 5 years later. So they decided, well, let's give it again at age 15. And at age 15, what percent? You're sort of getting the sense of it now. So at age 15, what percent score as creative geniuses? Okay. Now you're sort of having a sense of this. Okay, let's see what it was. At 15, 12% score as creative geniuses. So then they decided, let's give it to 125,000 adults and see what percent use the same questions and score as creative geniuses. And what do you think happened? What percent at age 20, or it was either 20, 25, 30, it was somewhere in there. Oh, you guys are getting smarter as we're getting dumber. So 2% score as creative geniuses. So what are we doing as educators, as parents, as people who are meeting with students? What is it that we're doing? And what he discovered is that we are telling students as they start aging, I mean, kindergartners have free reign for creativity. Oh, I think that's a horse. Oh, I think it's a sock. Whatever they think, it could be any response, and no one tells them different. By 10, we're starting to say, nah, I don't think that really would work. I think you'd do much better if. By 15, we are starting to have that be ingrained in the minds of people that that's not a really good answer and that you can't really do that. Uh, and as a matter of fact, you failed. You failed, you got an F, you got a D. You are not as capable. By adults, that has been ingrained in our minds. And that is, for me, what caused me to realize that we need to be educating students differently than we have ever educated them before. His work was so impactful for me as an educator long ago to see that we have got to do this differently. And especially given what uh, Richard Riley's comment was that everything we are preparing for is about to change drastically. And we cannot even imagine the jobs that are going to be out there, if there are many out there at all. But we need to really make that shift. So don't let this be discouraging. It's like riding a bike, it can be practiced and relearned. And that's why we're doing invention education. And just for the heck of it, uh, I was going to, oh, I may have inadvertently lost one, but we'll see. Maybe it'll show up at the very end. Our program, we want it to be for all students out there. We want to make sure that students who would not normally have availability um, to be doing this kind of work get that opportunity. And so we have at this point 53% women who are participating, female participation, which is so critical because when you look back at who are the inventors, it's a lot of old white guys. That said, we need to make sure that we have students who are underrepresented, who do not have a chance to have this, get it. And so we are trying to get into every school we can, to get into every after school program we can, and to have this be a program that is offered as a regular opportunity. Oh, this was what I was going to just ask you quickly to see if you can come up with. End users are the people who are going to use your inventions. And here are our end users for today. We'll just give you 2 minutes to work with these items. We have a wizard, and he is our end user. And we have a superhero who is an end user, and we have a fairy. And we want you to come up with something that would make their lives easier. So think of it's a wizard or a superhero or a fairy. And Rakna, are you able to unmute people so they can just perhaps call out a response if they have one? I don't know if you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they can unmute themselves as well.
They weren't able to somehow, it seems
Oh,
like. But
interesting.
okay, but maybe
Yeah.
we asked for some
Yeah.
oral responses.
If they can raise their hands up, I can unmute them for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if anyone has a suggestion, put it in the chat again. Put W for wizard, S for superhero, and F for fairy. Do you have something that you could invent for them that would make their life a little bit easier? And we'll give you 1 minute here and see if you come up with a response.
We have one,
Okay.
Mona. Yeah.
And what does Mona have to say?
So she is saying it is, hold on, I got scrolled out there. Comfortable organic cotton costumes for superheroes.
Oh, you bet. Such a need, I have to say, so important. Anyone else? Oh, good. Oh, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. And without that beard, he could never do his magic. So it's a must to have it, and it would make it so much better if he could make sure he doesn't self-destruct but through fire. I totally agree.
I
Any?
have another one.
Oh,
Just going with the hair, maybe a foldable micro nanoparticle that can pick ticks or lices in his beard.
I, I want
Of
you
course he doesn't.
I want you to appreciate that. I appreciate that so much as an administrator who used to have to go through kids' heads.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so I'm so appreciative. Mm. Well, so you get the idea, and this is one tiny little exercise that one can do with people or young people or old people to come up with how do you start thinking differently about what's out there and how it can be improved upon. So I just thought I'd throw it in for the heck of it.
That's amazing.
And let's see. Okay, and that was sort of my quick little slideshow. And let me exit out. And of course, not letting me exit out. Okay, how would that do it? No. Let's go one further and see where it takes us. And let me stop sharing. That'll do it. Okay, so Sarah, you had some questions. I don't know if that's what you want to ask or not. Hey, Rajna.
How are you, Brenda?
Wonderful. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you. Hey guys, if you can turn your cameras on, we would really appreciate it because Brenda really wants to know who they are talking to. And it's okay if you're, I have my kitchen there and I look horrible, but it's more about the appearance. So
Here
if you
it
are
is.
brave enough, let's see who you are.
I just am so appreciative of your saying that because when I'm on a Zoom call,
Yeah,
I sometimes am just like looking at myself. It's like,
absolutely,
it's so much,
absolutely.
it's so nice to have people there, but
Yeah,
people do what you feel comfortable doing. So,
correct, correct. Yeah, yeah,
oh,
awesome.
don't turn your camera.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So
just to give you a couple of ideas, guys, this is being recorded, so it will be sent to our repository so you can watch it. But Brenda, I have known her personally for many, many years. And Sarah too, I'm pretty sure. So we have met at MIT a couple of times with workshops that we have to, and Brenda has been a part of the Lemelson MIT program as well, which Sarah, me, Dan, all the instructors, they are as well. And Brenda had gone on to take over the California Invention Convention. So she is the director of Invention Convention there that facilitates students from, I think, kindergarten all the way to 12th grade.
kindergarten through 12th grade. And
Exactly.
MK Patel is that Arav's parent who just sort of went off the screen there? But I think one of my student parents
Okay,
is
yeah,
on here as well. So
yeah,
perhaps my student is even available to comment
yeah.
on things. So yeah,
And in this particular scenario, I mean, the invention convention is one competition that all of you can apply to, right? They already have a great curriculum, and we know that they're doing great things when it comes to um uh, Brenda, who was I forgot. Carolyn Ward. So she actually wrote the foreword for our science magazine, the journal, the peer reviewed journal that we have, the Future Scholars Journal. And, we are all intricately connected. We all have that ambition to make you guys flourish. Like whatever dreams you have, come to us and we will make it happen in whatever capacity we have, right?
interestingly, we asked before at the very beginning, the people who were on here, where they were from. They're from all over the country.
Exactly.
I think only one person is actually from California. But I was saying that there are programs all
Yeah,
over that do feed into the Henry Ford National Invention
correct.
Convention. And that's sort of where I came into all of this was I became an LLC under the national when it first began. So
Got it.
California in particular has geared all that we do when the students start the process to what the National Invention Convention is asking, so that we don't have you do and redo several times along the way, but
Right.
rather just take that path. So
Yeah.
all of that is the case. Let's see, and we will, as Sarah's saying, if you send her your email and where you are located, I can see if I can have the Henry Ford send you the information for your particular affiliate.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so,
Arizona started its own invention convention last year.
oh, they have,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a few years
ASU.
ago, actually, a couple of
Two
years
two
ago now,
years.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And Tim Reynolds is there, and they
Right.
are thriving. So
Yes.
it is a
Yes.
wonderful program wherever you are. Sarah had a few questions she was going to throw out, and I'll see if those are okay. Yep.
Brenda, I would like to ask about the timeline because a lot
Yeah.
of these students, because I think they have to do the regular invention and then go to the national. So there are a couple of independent innovator challenge. There is US nationals. So how do all of those lead up to the Henry Ford, and what's the timeline? So I think
Yeah.
that's what
So
most of the kids are confused about.
okay. So for California, um, i- it's a little bit different than other programs in that I train teachers in the
Yeah.
curriculum and the process, and a lot of what I'm doing is training a lot of people throughout
Right.
the state. So we want them to start as soon as they can, at least thinking about what are problems out there.
Yeah.
What's a problem that you can conceivably master? So uh, perhaps rather than come up with the idea of I want to build a robot to do my homework, you figure out how do you instead um, come up with an organizational tool that can help people who are really struggling with getting homework done,
Yeah.
something like that. So you need to think in doable chunks.
Right.
So I really recommend you start with, at all times today, carrying a notebook that just starts jotting down problems that you see in your life, in your family, in your community, anywhere you are. Keep track of it. There it is, an inventor's notebook. And do everything you can to start your mind thinking about, oh, that is a problem. Because kids will say everything's invented. In fact, everything isn't. The air out there, the mountains, the water, that's about it for what is already out there. Everything else was invented to solve a problem, and that those problems are going to keep coming fast and furiously. So start looking at that. Then we have a curriculum, and other places do as well, of how do you approach the whole idea of that problem solving process. And so that's what we want you to start thinking about in September at the very beginning, because you're going to need a really good long chunk of time. The nationals isn't until June now. So you have time to get to the nationals, but my state competition is in April. I have to have it done by April 18th, or I can't get you to nationals. And so that your invention had to already have been chosen by your school or your community or your after school program, or in the case of a lot of high school students, clubs. You have a club at a high school, and that's what you are going to use to determine You might have a competition at that level and send one or two of your winners onto the state competition. I have broken the state. California is so big, I've had to break it into two parts. So Southern California has the whole of El Camino College to be able to hold their competition for state. For Northern Central, I'm at the California State Railroad Museum, much smaller facility, and so we only can have 250 kids. Southern California, 600 kids. So we have to narrow it down to just the very top inventions that come to me by April. You have to have been done. You can continue thinking, you can continue inventing, you continue doing whatever you need to do after that to better your invention, improve upon it, to go to the nationals if you're chosen. But for me, I would say start early, keep thinking about your invention. If you're going on to college, colleges want to know that you can take something and keep at it and keep working on it and making sure that you are capable of documenting what you've done and send them the documentation. I had one young girl whose whole uh, issue had to do with a health problem. And she was documenting, and the next year she did another health problem. And she took on melanoma and a quicker way of identifying melanoma. These were her problems. By the time she was applying to college, she got into every college that she applied to because they saw her ability to maintain a through line that stayed with her for years. Um, she ended up getting a full ride to Rensselaer for 4 years and 3 years to the University of Albany to be able to get her medical degree. And I guarantee she will change the world. So I know that any inventors out there, if you really take this seriously, and um, Arav, if you're out there, I know that that is one of my students who really does take it seriously, and each year is getting involved in ideas that are furthering what he is interested in. So his particular one, if if he is, had to do with a medical device as well, some way of helping people who are struggling. So think about who it is. Think about someone. And most of the kids that come to us are empathetic. And colleges love to know that you care about someone else. So if you can think in terms of what can help other people, you are long on the road to being able to get into a good college, a good university. Talk about what you invented, talk about what you did. We had a kindergartner who had a patent. You know, she got a patent. The patent people, the USPTO, thought this is the youngest person we have ever had who had a patent, and it is a wonderful idea. So it came out of a very empathetic place. So I don't know if that helps, Rachna, with.
Absolutely, Brenda, and that is what I tell all the kids, right? You have to care. Nowadays, empathy is such a missing component in these kids. And again, it's not by nature, it's the way things are happening that they have no time to think about outside world rather than, their extracurricular activities, their work, their homework, their multi clubs that they are in. So it's happening by itself. And again, computers and games are not helping. But when you're doing a project that actually shows that you care, not just because you have to get to a college, but the true impact of it, it's huge, Brenda. And thank you for saying that.
And I
Yeah.
want to say one other thing. Years ago, when I was looking at what is it that colleges want,
Yeah.
what is it that the business roundtable wants after college? What they came up with was for kids to be able to collaborate with each other.
Yeah.
That is a key component that does not happen for everyone. Many kids want to work by themselves. My son, who is long into computing and doing incredible work, always wanted to learn every part of it. So he was not ready to just work with everyone. He wanted to be able to handle every piece of it. It is important to let go of the pieces that you are not the expert at and let other people take it on. If you can show that you are a good collaborative worker, that will take you far in what you're doing as well. You also asked what do kids need? This little book I just happened to get was from Jennifer Mead, who is our educational director. And at the end of it, it's like for probably I would guess third to fifth, kindergarten through third grade, something like that. But it's talking about Little Red Riding Hood going through the forest, and she meets all these fairy tale characters. But in the end, she tells you how to put together an invention box. You can have an invention box at your home and what the whole process is. She documents what our invention process is. If for a little book, if you're in the wanting to figure out what is the process of inventing, this will tell it to you. What and then just little bits and pieces along the way of how to get going. So depending on what age level your kids are and what they're up to, that can be a really good start too.
Love that. Brenda, one more last question. Sorry, Sarah, did you have? No. Yeah, so one question is, I know that for the state competitions that are held for the science and engineering fair, they
Mhm.
have a portal where all of the dates of all different states are listed and their deadlines and who their directors are. Do we have anything like that for Invention Convention?
We have it for our own, but
Oh, okay.
I have not seen that for all the different
Mm,
states that are participating. As soon
yeah,
as we put it together, it's probably close to what we do. You're welcome to go onto ours and
sure.
start looking at what kind of the dates are needed to come up with your prototype, to come up with, getting registering. Students register as a
Right,
club, they have to have an advisor. But
sure.
they can be independent inventors as well. And
Right.
that is something that you can do, and we accept independent inventors. Other places will as well. But look at ours if you want to get an idea of what the dates
Absolutely.
are.
And I always encourage all the students to apply to as many competitions as they can because
Absolutely.
it is reiterative process and it's not the important thing to win at a competition, but it's the process and the skill sets that they learn that is
Also,
important.
judges from every level that we have judges, and they submit suggestions to
Correct.
you for your invention, how to improve it, right after they judge your event. So we send those out to every student.
Right.
And at present, just to give you a sense, we started with 4 students going to the nationals. We now have 70,000 students in California who are doing the program. So we are on the rise. We'll have 1 million very soon, I know, but we're working on it. And so
Yeah,
we want to see that everywhere across the country. I think it's the
yeah,
most important thing young people can do. It gives them
absolutely.
a mindset. That's the other thing
Yes,
colleges are looking for. Do you have something that has given you a mindset of how to tackle problems? Because they're looking for problem solvers too, creative problem solvers.
absolutely. Sarah, go for it. I know it's time for us to close.
Okay, Sarah
Thank you.
has a lot of questions for, no, I'm teasing you, Sarah. Sarah, what you're saying then, I just want to say one quick thing. You should start your process by documenting what it is you're doing at the very start. It's not a book report that comes at the end of the process. It starts at the beginning. You change your mind of what you want to work on, you write it in that same log. You make sure that you have documented from this day you start thinking about it. So that's a critical piece too. You can send your document into the college along with a little attachment. So
Junior challenge. I said.
mhm.
Staggered, yeah.
I think the best thing for everyone out there is to really start thinking in terms of the fact that you are capable of changing the world. You are capable of being a real life problem solver, not just look at things in the distance and think, oh, someone can do that. I can do it. I am smart. I am capable. Failure is the best thing that can happen to me. Don't get discouraged along the way. Just keep at it until you believe really that your idea is the best it can be and stay with it. Next year you can improve upon it and enter again. We want kids to get on that mindset at a very early age. There are a lot of factoids that'll be coming your way. There's tests that you'll be taking here and there. Your life is not just as a test taker. Your life is at how can I help the world become a better place? What can I do to really make that difference? And so you have to just think of yourself as capable of doing it. So that's the best piece of advice I can give you. Start writing down the problems you see. Keep that journal next to you. Put in there little funny things that my sister in the car makes me crazy. I've come up with this solution for that problem. Think about what is personal to you and then realize you're not alone. So that's that's what I can say.
Just picking up on that, Brenda, about your sister annoying you, I had this one kid make a slapper, like, like he's sitting right. It was so funny, yet so, you know, innovative. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, yes, we are going to have a problem with the physical abuse part of it. But,
You bet.
between siblings,
I have to
who cares?
say that I have a student who came up with different games that they could play along
Oh,
the way.
well,
I'm
but
sure
when they
he
are
would
in
have
a car,
rather had a slapper, but he
I,
came up with the
so we are at the
yeah.
hour. Uh, One last question from my, because I need the kids to understand. So for the invention convention also, before they go to the nationals, they have to be selected by their school, they have to be selected by their state, and then they go to the nationals. So there
Absolutely.
is no direct entry into nationals.
There is, if there's no
US,
program in the state, if
correct.
there is no program at a school that's anywhere near, you can go to, Pashka is the person at the
Right.
National Invention Convention who's dealing with independent inventors. I
Correct.
deal with it at my state. So
Okay.
if you are an independent inventor in California, you can write and say, I have no school near me that is engaging in this, either in school, after school. I will encourage you to start a club. But if
Yeah.
you can't do that, then I will tell you that it is important for you to then become an independent inventor. Don't give up because there isn't something near you.
Yeah. And I think there are affiliates as well, Brenda, right? That can actually nominate projects to that as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
so there are many different ways to get there, guys. There, you just need to reach out to us and Brenda, and who knows those information, so that we can give you a timely advice on what to do. If you come in June and ask us, what do we do to apply today? The deadline's already gone, right? So
Absolutely.
be aware, with parents are always looking for
Uh,
opportunities.
Our deadline ends in March. The beginning of
Okay,
March is when our kids have to have inventions and be able to submit videos to us and
right.
submit their logs and submit what their display board will contain. We are looking at videos of all the inventions that are going to continue on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Brenda.
Okay. So if there used to be Washington, and I don't know if they've rebegun Washington yet or not. So you could go to the National Invention Convention, and there's a place on their site, Invention Convention Worldwide, ICW, that says, I am in this state, and it will lead you to who the affiliate is for that state. Um, if if there is none, again, you can enter as an independent inventor and go straight to ICW and let them know that you don't have a program available and you're interested.
So I found the National Innovator Challenge. I put that link in there, and I know that all of them actually feed into the invention, and there is a couple of others as well. But yeah,
Well,
reach out to us.
yeah,
So
ICW, Invention Convention.
ICW.
Yeah,
Oh,
Invention Convention Worldwide
I see.
is the one that is
Okay.
going to tell you whether there's a invention convention
I'm gonna
there.
look that up. Invention convention. I found it. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put the link up there for everybody. So make sure that uh, you guys get it. So yeah, it's the Henry Ford
right. That's
Invention
right.
Convention. Yeah. Okay, I'm putting it out there as
Hmm.
well. The link. Okay.
Okay.
The-
Well, I
Sarah, you want to
thank you.
close? Uh, absolutely.
I was just in the chat. I'm seeing Mona said, thank you. Please share her contact. You're most welcome to share my contact as
Yeah,
well.
Mona is already, yeah, Mona's daughter is our student, so it's already been shared in the
Okay.
group. So yes. Srivastava. Srikant. Aditi Srikant. Dugrila. Dugirala. It is.
Just start. Just get started.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to end with one last comment, and sorry, Sarah. I've been talking to a lot of parents because today is our registration closes for next year, and they were saying, we have received your contact like a couple of years back, and we didn't have time to talk to you. I'm like, please just shoot me a WhatsApp, you know. And don't wait. That's the main point, because you have to take that first step, and that is the most hardest step for a lot of you as well. So yeah. Sorry, Sarah. No.
Just start.
Just start. Yeah. Just start. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda.
You bet. Have fun.
You
Bye.
too.
Happy
Bye.
inventing.